sure he's out of that barbershop. I told him that just and we can hang.
Well, are you going to charge them?
I just need to make sure that they're all one, and then we'll try to get it resolved next week.
Hi.
We'll wait for a few minutes. Both Bobby and Ricky are running a little late, so we'll wait for 5 minutes or so and see if they can show up.
I'm just ignoring your notice. That's what I did.
How you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a call from a guy at the baseball. And I told him I think we're doing the work. Okay. Am I correct? Whatever. And I can't remember.
And they can't have any games.
It's Fred. June, yeah, baseball. Do you know, Eamon Hope?
And see how that went.
So
I do.
that's who called me.
Actually, I took
And I told him I thought we'd
when you
make
sent me
my
that.
He probably just didn't.
I tried to talk to him, and send it to everybody.
He just probably
And that's why I
didn't.
said back to you, I said, there's something. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I did.
I know you didn't like it. I wouldn't have you out there.
So I didn't know what you were doing, but I knew you were doing it.
So we just.
We got a crowd here tonight. Good.
Just those chickens.
Feel free to call me or have to.
Well, I was busy and I just answered that, told me that we were doing some work. I thought the county paid something like that.
That's not why you didn't like it.
I'll tell you who'll do it for you, Millie Litt. You know Millie? I hadn't looked at it. I'll text you, no, she's the one who makes all my signs from off, or body. Paint some, yeah. Got that, paint that redwood. That you got, some type of look. See, they do to make it, the numbers stand out.
Wait a few minutes.
Redwoods, it'll
You and
never.
Ricky Martin here.
Got the right.
Ricky's on the
paint
floor.
that. She'll take it down and bring it to her shop and repaint it all. And all that
I
landscape.
wish we would have been at that time.
Same thing with yours at the bottom.
I might not play my hair until her feet.
Red Star, we can get some of the smaller stuff out there.
Because they always look like, why would you do that?
It's,
That's a,
Yeah, he said he was in front of the boat.
that's a common feeling. Why, I don't know why.
He's also on the phone? Okay. Hey, Ricky, are you on the phone?
Yeah,
Are you close?
almost to knucklehead.
Okay, well, we'll wait. You're on. Right there.
So I can go ahead and hang up, but y'all wait.
Yeah, go ahead and hang up. We haven't got one in yet.
You tell him to wait, knucklehead.
Stop by what? Knuckleheads and get us
The
on.
corner?
Oh, well, he's right there. Yeah.
That's the best way to really know where we're
Where you at?
I know. I'm so.
Tomorrow it's Ooh, I'm not gonna do any of that. I don't know, I'm just. And I feel like I'm vulnerable, so.
I go get acupuncture. That's what you gotta do. Acupuncture. Yeah, well, it's the acupuncture place I go to on Cash Road in Biloxi.
Do y'all,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that works better for me than anything. If the person really knows what they're doing. Because I had some, yeah. It's Chinese acupuncture. It's on Pass Road. They're only open Wednesdays and Fridays because they have like 3. They have one in Mobile and one in Pensacola, and it's just a couple that does it. May, I can't, I never tried to pronounce her name. I know she's May, and I forget his name. But the way it's done, and if it's done properly, I've had it done by somebody who really didn't know what they were doing, and it, you know, all it did was leave a suction cup and didn't really do anything. But the way they do it, the darker the mark is when it's done, the more inflammation you had, because it draws the inflammation up to the top, and then you kind of disperse it and rub it. So the darker, the more inflammation they found. And there have been times where I've come back and it just looked like I got attacked by an octopus, and it was like almost purple. The marks were so dark because of all the. That's what I have. I have excess inflammation, like everywhere, and in my neck and in my shoulders especially. So the combination. Both. It's a combination, I think, that helps, because they do the not only do the acupuncture, but at least 4 of the needles they'll attach the tins. You know, the electric pulse. So it's like jumper cables. They'll took it up to it. So like, especially when I was having so much in my neck and everything, they attach it to the one that's here. It's like the whole muscle is just, you know. They did one in here, and this finger was like couldn't stop. Like tins put on you with pads is one thing, is all right. You attach it to that needle that's going down into the nerve. If they have to have it at the right level. If they have it on too strong, yeah, it'll hurt. But because it's just like. I mean, it'll sometimes if she hits a nerve, or if it stings a second. But sometimes you'll forget, you know, that you have the needles in, and it's like, don't scratch your face, don't move. I just don't move. I was going every week for a while, and then I go like every other week. Insurance doesn't cover it, but like 10 sessions with the cupping is like $500, but that's 10 sessions. And it's like I said, they're only open 2 days a week. So for a while I was going every week, and then I started going every 2 weeks just for maintenance. Are they not yet? Not yet. I was supposed to have one, and Kathy said she'd call me. I'll give you the information. I missed
All right,
it.
we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is a special call for the City of Ocean Springs. I have a motion to accept the agenda.
Yeah, motion to accept the agenda.
Motion, Mr. Blackman. Second, Mr. Hempy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we'll get started on item 1, which is discussion of section of Government Street closure. So this is something that we've been discussing for 2-3 weeks or so. We discussed it at the last board meeting. And really the theory behind it is to, you know, with all of the restrictions that the businesses are having, both restaurant, retail, anything in between, only has a certain amount of wiggle room they can do inside their business. And so by closing the streets, this will allow more opportunity for people to get out and shop and, you know, go downtown and enjoy our businesses while safely distancing. So that's kind of the gist of it. In front of you, everybody should have a handout that myself and Megan's been working on. Depending on what we vote tonight, we'll update it with any other additional information. We're going to give these to the businesses inside the footprint in order to just let them know, you know, kind of what to expect from the city. So with that, I want to open it up for discussion.
I just have questions. So first off, this was discussed last meeting, and we decided that we were going to wait till after this weekend and monitor it. I spoke with Ricky. I don't know if you changed your mind, but I mean, I spoke to you this weekend and today, and it seemed like there was no need to go forward with this, that the majority of business owners that have reached out to you and I have said they're not in support of this. The second point that I want to make is what's the purpose you know, if we've got a caveat in here, do not block sidewalks, pedestrian paths with tables and chairs and merchandise, you're just gonna advertise for people that they can walk in the street, is the only benefit that I see of this. So I don't support it. I don't think the businesses, the majority of them support it. I could be wrong, but the few I've talked to don't. So that's what I have to say.
So we're gonna, so the plan is to, and we discussed this, we discussed the idea of letting them encroach into the sidewalk specifically. Problem is there's ADA considerations regarding the sidewalk, so we have to keep the sidewalk open. I think what you're seeing is down there, you know, I got a lot of, I get complaints literally every Monday. I gotta basically come in Monday and field all the complaints and the calls about, you know, what's going on in the weekend. And people want to be able to shop, people want to be able to eat, and so there's only so much room on the sidewalks. You know, people can't get out into the streets. So this will just create more wiggle room for everybody, in my opinion.
In my opinion, what's going to create is more complaints for you to field on Monday morning, because there's going to be more people that think they can get out and be in the street. So it's.
Well, the intent in the beginning was if we had a problem in the downtown, and I went down there, and I didn't see anything when I was down there, but of course the weather was not so good last weekend. A lot of restaurant owners are for it. The problem is that I think we got issues with, I know Sugar and Spice complained about it, and I had a couple other retailers that complained about it. And I guess my biggest concern is, has anybody talked to the Moolers about Tater Night?
I haven't talked to them specifically, no, but I can only imagine, I mean, you're shutting them off.
Yeah.
That's my only concern.
And I haven't had any support for this, and I'm afraid, and as hard as you don't want it to look like it, it's gonna look like a street party.
Exactly.
When still the safe at home is still in play. That's
Well,
the only issue. I think we're still ahead of ourselves.
I think if we can justify it to the retailers that this is why we did it. If we had a bad weekend, like I told everybody when it first started, I said, look, you know, we're gonna come downtown. And I told it to Rob. Rob was gonna come downtown that night before it started raining, and I told it to the retailers that, you know, like, look, you know, I understand, I'm hearing what you're saying, but if we have an issue in the downtown, then we're gonna have to make some kind of a concession to try and keep people safe and let people, you know, get back to doing business and stuff. And they agreed to that. My fear is that, you know, if we don't have nothing to back that up as far as like why we're doing it, I think we're gonna get a lot of lashback at this point, unless we just have a bad weekend.
Let's just
Rick,
hold on
I
to
think
the
you're
plan.
right. I think with this distancing that the governor still got on in the state, I think that it's just gonna open it up to breaking the law of distancing, because it's gonna be all crowded in the street. We're kinda like doing the reverse of what the governor wants to do.
There's other cities that did it, you know, and I think it had some success with it, but I don't know if they had as much grouping as we have with retail and bar and restaurant mix, you know. But I mean, I would like to see it, you know, if we can justify it. My problem is, you know, I represent the Moolers and, you know, just like, and then Sugar and Spice and these other retailers that are saying, you know, that, okay, we understand it benefits them, but we don't wanna put our stuff on the sidewalk, you know?
Well, what about the parking? For Belandi, Coxon, Russell, you know they're all gonna line those streets and park in there. What are we gonna do about the people that live down there? You know, if they can get the government, and they do it for mowers, they come down that street, they all park there, what are we gonna tell the people in there?
Let me ask, so Chief, did you get anything back from I know you had the golf cart out both days, Saturday, I think Friday, or Saturday and Sunday. You heard anything from them?
The one night was just a bust because of the weather. Was it Saturday night? And then Sunday was kind of cool and cold, so they didn't get a whole lot of response, but, or reaction. But the only interaction I've had about it was at the meeting that the mayor, well, you guys were there, at the chamber. So I think anything we would say right now would be an unfair assessment, because
right,
it just wasn't a representative weekend.
You know, I tell you, Ricky, I like the idea. And we had talked about this a number of times, you and I, before the pandemic, that we'd like to try it, you know. But now with this going on, I don't know.
We try.
I think we may make the front page of somehow, if we open it up like that.
What if we just throw a curve into the thing? I thought this would be a good opportunity. We've all talked about a one-way portion of government, one way. Would this be a good test balloon?
You still putting traffic on the road where people are gonna be in the street.
That's true.
I think, let's just see how this weekend goes. I mean,
Megan, every Monday, when we've been coming in for the past month, what's the comments been like about downtown?
Very, very bad.
Very bad about how they can't get around, that everybody's just gathering around all the restaurants and all the bars, and they can't get by because everybody's there trying to get drinks, trying to get to-go orders. Nobody can get by. Handicapped people can't get by. People who are legally blind can't walk down the sidewalk.
I got one
Correct.
today. I mean, it goes all week. We just get the majority of them on Monday, but I'll get them all week long.
All week long.
And like I said, you're still gonna get them on Mondays if you do this, and probably more.
So what's your take on this, man?
Well, the thing is if we, by allowing the restaurants to put extra tables out into the parking area, the boutiques can put some extra clothing items, have people out there, whatever, however they want to do it. It would allow just a bigger footprint for them to, to serve, to have tables, and it would clear up, you would have basically the foot traffic down the middle of the street. And then obviously as people break off to go to, the restaurants and different businesses, they would use the sidewalk. And we have been discussing exactly what route we would need to, what area we would need to close off to, have the least amount of impact to, certain businesses and to the neighborhoods. And look, and we've talked about this with PD and building and stuff, and it'll be a challenge to enforce. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not, but in my opinion, this is the best option we have to give the businesses more wiggle room, to have more tables, to get more tips and more money into their workers' hands. That's my number one goal. That's my number one goal.
And the main ones I spoke to, Mayor, was just, they liked the one-way idea because at least you kept the traffic flowing through. I know Ricky's saying you put people on the street with traffic, but you barricade that section off. And that way you don't stop all traffic from coming through there. But I still think we're ahead of ourselves. I think we're just a week or two ahead of this, and I think we just give it a little bit. It's a great idea.
What are we
but I
waiting
think
on?
we're too early.
What are we waiting on?
Well, for one, you got the safe at home order still with the governor. And I really think we're pushing the limit by doing that. I just think people's gonna take it as, hey, Ocean Springs shut their streets down there, have a block party, let's go shop over there.
That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna make it somehow.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Everybody's trying to do social distancing, we're opening up the street for pedestrian walk. I mean, like I said, it's a great idea before the pandemic, but now, I don't know, maybe a little bit too early. I don't know if it's a good move or not. So you for it, Mayor?
Oh, I'm absolutely
And
for
Rick,
it.
are you for it?
If we have issues in the downtown, which I didn't see last weekend, I was for it.
You was for it?
Yeah, if we had the issues like the weekends we had before, then yeah, I would have been for it because of that. But I told the business owners at that meeting in the chamber parking lot that I would do it if we can justify that we had problems in the streets, and I didn't have that this past weekend.
Ken, how you feel about it, man? I just need to get,
Well, I'm listening to the guys that have it down, I'm listening to Ricky, and I'm listening to the mayor too. I don't know about the timing. I lean 51% for closing it, and I'm easily swayed because it's not my ward, and I wasn't down there, but I was listening to what Ricky said about the merchants, and I hear what the mayor's saying about the complaints. I would go with it too. I would go with closing.
I would say this, I mean, the people that are complaining, they're gonna complain no matter what we do. Period, street. We've seen that for 3 years. We continue to see it, so.
I think timing's irrelevant. I see more negatives than positives.
Mike, what'd you say, Mike?
I said, I think the timing is irrelevant. We keep talking about too early. I think the timing's irrelevant. I see more negatives coming from this than positives.
I mean, if we have a bad weekend this weekend, then we can.
I disagree with that, because this past weekend, it wasn't bad, but there was some problems, but this past weekend was not, the weather and Mother's Day, is arguably makes this past weekend not the most representative. But if you take this past weekend out and look at the past 4 weekends, I mean, the past 4 weekends to me proves my point. I mean, all of the pictures.
2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, I spent a lot of time downtown with my family. I didn't see any issues. I've been downtown 2 weeks ago. Businesses were doing well. The solution is just take the reins off, let businesses open, quit screwing around with 50% on this other garbage.
I won't disagree with that, but. All right, well, we'll go ahead and call it.
George, how'd you down?
Well, I'm more worried about the people that live on the streets.
Well, yeah, I mean.
All that
traffic's gonna
parking,
be-
they're gonna come in those streets, they're gonna block them. And these streets are not wide. If the party's on Government Street, Valandi, Cotsum, and Russell are gonna get bombed.
Yeah,
Parking,
somebody-
it's so
somebody just
remote.
sent me a message that, I don't know who that is.
Well, they can go down Robinson and go down Ward to get out.
They said,
Yeah, but I'm talking about they'll
figure
go
out
park
how
and
to-
leave their car. And go.
You're not gonna block a driveway.
The roads are not that wide, you put one car on one side, you can't get through.
That's up to the chief, that's all I look at that.
Who is Bundy?
I got several of those merchants downtown. They were in favor of the one-way because you don't just close.
What was the question, the chief?
I don't know, I wasn't listening.
What was the question?
About how wide the streets are for Cotsum and all that.
They are
And people are
narrow.
gonna park in there.
I'm
You
sorry.
can't-
They're not wide.
Yeah,
You talking about the arteries go off of Government Street?
yeah, none of
People
those,
living on them, and he's afraid he's gonna block them in from.
none of those streets are wide enough to have on-street parking.
See?
None of them are.
But
Oh, and
they'll
I'm
do it.
asking the
They'll do
chief.
it.
Yeah, well, I mean, width and compliant width for roadways.
All right, let me ask the chief. Chief, how can you alleviate that problem, like Joey, like he's saying, that, the arteries going off of Government? If you live there and you have a driveway, how do you stop them from blocking that driveway and then blocking the street?
Our best,
Huh?
our best option, if that was the case, would be to have to get no parking signs put out everywhere,
There you go.
like we do for a festival.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, we do it for festivals, it works. I don't know, I kinda
Well, I think it's pretty much,
changed
the
my
writing's on
mind a
the
little
wall,
bit
so,
here. I mean,
the writing's on the wall, it's not gonna pass, so we can just move on. Unless somebody wants to make
I don't think
a motion.
anybody's seen
Well,
it.
somebody make a
I
motion,
mean,
we'll find
I
out.
think at the time, I think right now is not the right time, but I don't think anybody's like saying it's not a good idea.
I'm just trying to take care of it. That's fine.
Can we table it till Tuesday? Why don't we table it
When's
till
our next
Tuesday, see
meeting?
what happens this week?
Next Tuesday, yeah.
No motion.
You good next week?
Put it back on.
Yeah, I would like to go talk to the Mullins at least, you understand their outfitters does.
Okay,
It's
all right.
a hard, we got a good deal downtown, Government, and a bad deal.
All right, we'll move forward. We'll move to the monster ditch. We'll move to the monster ditch.
He's for it.
We'll move to the monster ditch agreement. So, Ken, you want to take that?
Yeah, okay, Monster Ditch Agreement with Oak Street. We've been working on this Monster Ditch project for approximately 5, almost 6 months.
I'm sorry, Megan, is the fade working? Is it, okay?
Yeah.
All right, somebody said they were in trouble.
No, there's 15 people watching.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Ken.
Okay, we've been working on the Monster Ditch for quite a while, and it's been approximately 6 months, thereabouts. And initially, it came up that the county proposed that they had money available for us, or for any of the cities in the county to do a project. We voted and proposed the Monster Ditch #1 in Ward 4. It went to the county and they agreed, so we, and I'm kind of jumping forward and speeding around here just to kind of save a little time to give you an overview. Then we went forward and voted on an MOU for the county to furnish the money to us to do the Monster Ditch. They okayed it, they signed it, the mayor signed it, so that's where we stand on it. We're at a point right now in our meetings, and it was, I think we talked to everybody, I've talked to every department, yeah, I think, our ad hoc committee, Mr. Cox, Mr. Altman, myself, and the mayor met with the county, and we've kind of stayed hopefully up to date with the thing. Anyway, the MOU was signed, and part of the arrangement was that we would move forward. At that time, there was no bid required. We would simply move forward with our city engineer to do this project. And that was the direction of the county, and I think that was the direction of the committee. And since then, we decided we would get with Jason Overstreet, our city attorney, and, city engineer, and arrive at the cost. The county allowed in their estimate from their engineer $61,900 to do the engineering, amongst the amount of money they were going to give us or flow through to us to pay for this. 61,900. Mr. Overstreet arrived at, give me 1 second. I should have had it. $46,900 for that project, which is $15,000 under the county estimate. All right, where we stand right now is when the MOU happened, that started the clock, gentlemen. That started the clock. We've got 24 months to do this thing, and we're down to probably approximately 23. Patty can give us the exact time, but I'll use 23 as a round number. The next thing that, the next big part of it that we should be concerned about is that we need to move forward with this project. Times are changing. We've just talked about the pandemic. I don't want to put words in anybody at the county, but when they look at their budget and their concerns, I think we need to move forward and lock this down and get started with this project. I know that Mr. Blackman and other folks say we can do it with public works, we can do it with bidding out and stuff of that nature. But I think we've gone along here for 6 months. We're at a time that we either need to move forward. If we don't, I think it's over with and we'll just get back. This is a golden opportunity for us to spend $46,000 and change to get $200,000, whatever the math is. But I think it's a great return for us to do. And I think we need to do it now while we've worked at it. And I'm of the opinion that if we don't go forward now, we never will. That ditch has been sitting there for forever. And I don't know how many years. Probably, John, when you were in the 3rd grade, that ditch needed to be dug out.
I know, Steve Robinson used to talk about that ditch.
So I think it's not a perfect world, but I think it's time for us to move forward and go from there. And I'm prepared to make a motion. And my motion is that we go ahead and execute the agreement with Overstreet Engineering to complete the Monster Ditch #1 project.
Second the motion, and let me add to what Ken's saying. I know Steve Robinson talked about that amount of snakes and rats in those people's backyard. They maybe even some alligators because the ditch is so big. You know, there's a fear factor for those residents who live on both sides of that ditch. And I commend the county for offering the money. I commend you for going forward with it, Ken. And you can always re-engineer anything, anytime, anything, but hey, this is a matter of, I wouldn't say emergency, but it's just immediate action needs to be done. So I'm ready to move forward, and I'll second your motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Papani, second by Mr. Gill. Any further discussion?
Ken, I just had one question on the, I really hadn't had time to study the breakdown on what they got. And I know you had told me the county might be willing to do some of the work. If that's the case, is this price set in stone? Because if we don't have to go out for bid, the county's gonna do some of the work. That should come off, right?
I'm not familiar with the county saying they would do any of the work.
Okay, I thought when I talked to you, you said that they would.
My understanding, like, they weren't gonna.
They are not gonna do the work?
No.
So
this is strictly a bidded project.
Well, not even bidded, you know, it's a amount of money they
It
receive.
is a bidded project. It's got a bidding phase in it for $4,000. So it means they're putting it out for bid for contractors to bid on the
Well,
work.
their statement to me, Brian and Randy Bosarge, is we did not have to bid this.
You don't have to bid the
The
engineering.
engineer.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I'm asking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just
I
saying, the
misunderstood.
project, I had misunderstood you. I thought you said the county was gonna work, kinda like they did at Highway 57 Conflict.
I don't know, I think what we're doing here, Bobby, is getting way ahead, and we're getting in the weeds, and we're worried about details of bidding this, and what kind of
Well-
rocks are they gonna use, and how deep, and et cetera.
No, I'm not going there. My point was, is the 46.9 set in stone, because if the county was actually gonna do the work, you weren't gonna bid all of this out. And it reduces the engineering cost, is what I was getting to. And if it's a bidded project, that's not the way it's gonna work, so.
Well, there's a lot of questions, and I guess we could get the county here and continue on another 6 months and get Brian and Randy here to answer all these questions. I say accept it as it is and go forward, and then we can work it.
James understands what I'm saying, don't you, Mr. James?
Yeah,
If we're bidding it all out, then it's.
It is a bid project. I mean, this is, it's way above the 50,000, range that we would have to stay under to be able to do it without bidding it out. But that's what from my understanding, the county was saying that we didn't have to bid the engineering work out. We didn't have to ask for SOQs and go through that process. But the actual construction of the project is gonna have to be bid.
That was my question. I didn't know the county was.
Well, I'm sorry, Bobby, that's a little clarity with what you said, because that is correct.
You're talking about the construction part,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was-
Well, here's the thing about the construction part, Bob, you start piecemealing this thing, you get you bid it out, and then get a contractor to do this portion, and the county does that portion, and the county busy that month, they can't get in, and then you slow the project down, and then the contractor says, look, I can't continue like this, I mean, I've got to go to other jobs. It becomes a total mess. It's clean right now, it's turnkey, we go out for bid, just like we do any project for the last 36 years.
I
Bill,
totally
or
understand what you're saying.
Any
I thought they
project,
would do the
we
project.
do it that way, and I love that, that's what we need to do with this one, we need to just go forward. People are tired of putting up with that mess back
I'm ready
there,
for
they've been
this
doing that for
completed.
years.
I promise you, I've been putting up with it for 9 years. I know
Those are
exactly
your
what it is.
constituents too, yeah, that's right.
But
So-
I misunderstood. I thought the county was actually gonna do some of the work or all the work. But no, they gave us the funds to bid it out, so I totally
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah, it's our money, but it's their money, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm ready to move forward.
Well, I have several questions. So I guess, James, can you answer what needs to be permitted for $15,000 out there?
There's gonna be a good bit of environmental on the south end of the ditch. It's all wetlands down in there. That's the number that the county came up with, and Jason and I have looked at it, and we're willing to go with their number, in there, but there's gonna be a lot of environmental work down on that end, from the south end of it.
So the city will pay the permitting, which is the 15,000, and the city will pay the engineering. Any right
That's
of way?
part of the engineering.
Well,
That's
I'm
all
saying,
part of
yeah,
the
but the
engineering.
27, yeah. Well, the engineering was 17,900 for pre-bid, 4,000 for the bid, 5,000 for construction, and then, so the 15 and the 26, whatever, 26,900. The land acquisition cost, which the county has in at 20, but y'all have in at 5.
Yeah, because I think the money that they put in for the land acquisition stuff included the purchase of property. And Jason and I talked about it, and we know that if we're gonna have to do, land acquisition stuff, we're gonna have to have surveys, write the descriptions of the pieces that we need, and that stuff.
Which leads to my next question, why do we need right of ways and easements when we've already got a ditch there that's established, it's just overgrown?
From the end where we left off with the Ross project, which is kind of at the end of Shepherd, where the little cul-de-sac is, that's roughly where the end of the old project that we had done before is right there, and then it goes from there all the way down to that ditch is pretty well defined at that point. But once it gets past there, it kind of just spreads out. Rob, I mean, if you go down and look at the section where it crosses from by, that ditch is about 4 feet deep there, 3 or 4 feet deep.
But why couldn't we basically survey it, send the crew in with a track hoe and a skid steer, and just clean it up? I mean, why do we need $47,000 worth of engineering to do this project? I mean,
Well, the first thing, Corps not gonna let you go in there with the track hoe and do that, because we're gonna have to get permitted, we're gonna have to come up with a design and get it permitted before they're gonna let us do anything in there.
for one section of it, is that you're talking about?
Well, from the part where we have ended right now, down to, Brumbaugh, which is around 1,500 feet, I think, in there that we still gotta go, to, you know, figure out where we're gonna, I mean, we've got to stay with the existing ditch, that's the Corps', you know, regulations. You can't change the alignment of that.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, why couldn't we just flag it out, survey it, and know where it is and do it? Why do we need the permitting other than the wetland section? If there's.
Because it's all wetlands from where we're fixing to start, all the way to Brumbaugh.
That's, I didn't understand that, but you said there was an end that part that was at first, but.
We went as far previously, and I mean, we've got to go back up the ditch a little bit. There's a part that we worked on before that's had a little bit of damage, up on the upper banks that we've got to fix in there. But from roughly the cul-de-sac at the end of Shepherd, south to Brumbaugh, all that's brand new work in there, and all that's wetlands, and it's gonna have to be permitted. We went as far as we could with our previous project without getting into the permitting stuff with the Corps, but we can't go any farther south now without having it permitted.
The, land acquisition, is that on the Sharp 90? They're gonna try to purchase a little land right there on that?
I think that's what the county was looking at, was trying to, you know, see if the, I mean, we gotta come up with a design, see what the Corps is gonna let us do in there, but that was my understanding, was that.
Soften that curve.
That they put that in there in case we had to buy right away or get easements. You know, we may even have to have some, access easements, because we have an easement, with a bank on the west side, between a couple of houses right there at Connor and Shepherd. And then we have an easement down on the cul-de-sac at Shepherd in there, but we don't have any other way to get in there. So we may have to go over to Park Place, which comes off the end of Handley. There's a couple of lots in there that aren't built yet, and I'm not sure they ever will be, because of the, we may be able to, you know, have to get access through there.
And drop off.
Yep, it is. And,
I knew the one section when we met with the county to discuss it, that sharp S curve was where they were talking about trying to soften that S, and maybe
Right.
have to purchase a little piece there.
yeah, well, we don't know for sure where the, you know, where the right of way is that we may or may not need, and, in there, and we've got to get it surveyed out and figure out what we're gonna do and get with the Corps, see what they're gonna let us do before, you know, and then if we have to buy property, you know, right away and stuff, we will.
The right-of-ways and land acquisitions can be part of the funding from the county, as long as the city and the landowner or whatever agrees. That's part of it.
Yeah. We just took the 5,000 out of that, because we know that, you know, part of that 20,000, we don't know exactly how much of it is, they haven't said was gonna be used to buy whatever easements or right of way that we had to have. But we knew we were gonna be involved in doing all the platting and surveying and stuff for those individual pieces that they needed. So that's why we took a little bit out of that and left the 15 that the county has proposed for actual purchase, you know, money for the property.
So we're pretty positive that after we spend the $46,900 on engineering, that the monies that we have left over is going to cover this project.
Yeah, I think
From
so.
the county.
Yeah.
It's a $250,000 beyond what we're paying for the permit and the engineering.
can 100% guarantee you we get another bill from Overstreet for this above and beyond this.
All right, any further questions? Any further debate? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. And for item 3, we just have a quick fix on, for the committee, finance committee meeting, finance committee minutes, which is to fix the time from, it says that it ended at 6:15, it was actually 4:15. And so with that change, it'll be good for approval. So I have a motion to accept the minutes. Motion by Mr. Altman, seconded by, who's that? Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we had to accept those minutes in order to discuss and approve this hazard pay resolution. So this is something that we went through the finance committee the other day. They approved it, and frankly, what this is a payment. And Patty, you want to take it over? You're intimately knowledgeable.
Yeah. So we were looking to do something for the police and firemen that work on the outside. So this, we're looking at trying to give, there's like 33 policemen, and Mark has 50-something, 52 employees. There's 33 firemen, because it would not be the upper guys, even though I appreciate you guys out there working last night. So we were trying to do something for some has pay for police and fire, because as we start having more public out, they will also be more in connection, and they have no choice if someone's intoxicated or whatever. They have to handle them. They can't tell people to stand 6 foot away. These budgets, the police budget, I had the payroll clerk redo the roster today and go through and take who Mark has now and how much more we need for the rest of the year. And even if Mark was able to hire 5 more people right away, then Mark's budget is still, even with this $100 a month, $100 a paycheck for 10 paychecks, which is equivalent to $1,000. Even with that, Mark is still on target, if he hires 5 people, to have about $70,000 left at the end of September in his payroll budget. So this is extremely budget neutral in his budget. And the fire chief, if he stays on target to where he is, even with us giving this to the 33 firemen, he's still targeted to have $70,000 left in his budget at the end of September. So this $35,000, both of these budgets are still targeted to actually return funds to general fund. So this is extremely budget neutral, and I feel like it's a great appreciation for police and fire that didn't get to stay home at all. They didn't get to work from home. They didn't get any of that. And I personally, I support it. And then after my house almost burnt last night, they come save me. I really appreciate the fire department and the police department, but I promise this was in cahoots beforehand, so this really has nothing to do with that. But I sure am grateful to you guys and all the fire departments, because it was quite scary. It got right next to my property.
No, I think we're all in agreement on that. I mean, you know, they had a huge task thrown at them yesterday, both departments, from firefighters having to fight the fire, police having to deal with traffic control, and neighbors out looking and trying to keep everybody at a safe distance. So very much appreciated, great job for everybody, and I support this 100%.
I do too, but I got a question for Mark. Mark, how close did that fire get to us, our fire chief? How close did it get to any buildings or houses or?
Closest point was probably 10 feet in one spot, one area. Madison Place was.
Down on Raleigh Road?
Madison Place, it burnt some privacy fence towards the east end.
Wow.
And then off of Raleigh Road, we had two structures in particular. It was off a little gravel private drive. It got within about 10 feet of one of them structures.
One of the structures.
And literally burned all the way around it.
Wow. Do they have any idea how it started? Just natural causes?
It's under investigation.
Yeah, it's under
Okay.
investigation.
I understand.
We'll be having some more on that here shortly.
Thank you, Chief.
So Patty, the numbers you were given, for those to be true, we have to collect all taxes that we anticipated collecting for the year.
Well, I actually have already looked into some of that, and we're still in good shape, and I'm gonna say we're not gonna collect 300,000 of what we said we were gonna get. We're still in good shape for the year, so it's not even really, and I really believe sales tax will be up this month. I think when I get March's sales tax, because that's when people cleared the grocery stores.
The grocery store.
Because toilet paper was very important.
It's always important.
And I assure you.
Sanitizer?
Yeah, in liquor stores and stuff, I told somebody the other day, the state auditor's office told me that it's 43%, wasn't that way, the liquor sales in Mississippi are the highest they have ever seen. So.
Because we have
Yeah, I won't
prices.
say we won't have any hit,
Yeah.
but I'm really hopeful, Bobby, that we're not gonna see hardly any hit to 2%.
I know.
And we might even, because the grocery stores have been so popular and all, we may not see, I don't know that we'll see much hit to our sales tax. Because we don't have casinos and we don't have malls, we're not quite in that arena.
So you're still holding firm to your budgeted numbers?
Yes, sir, and I'm on it.
Awesome.
I hope you hit it.
Yeah. I like the idea with the police and fire, but what about parks and public works?
We were taken care of,
Y'all taking
and they
care
were
of?
taken care of, right, Alan?
If you say so.
Oh,
Well,
what
they,
does that
they
mean?
took off every other week.
Well, I know they did, but I'm just saying that they are.
I feel
fixing what
comfortable
they're-
with what was taken care of with Park.
Wait a minute, Alan, are you taking care of it?
We were off.
Yeah, they were.
You were off, okay.
Were
You're
y'all-
right.
were
You're
y'all
right,
off?
Alan. You're right.
Our hours were modified, so.
Oh, short.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll see.
Well, I was just checking.
No, yeah,
I
no,
need,
thank
I
you,
need
but
to
we were taken care
clarify
of.
something about this. This is moving forward. These are for actions moving forward. Per the law, that we can't do bonuses that are retroactive pay. So this is all moving forward for police and fire. I just wanted to make sure that's clear for everyone, you know.
Yeah, from
Everyone's out in public now, so they're even more potentially exposed. So this is something that's gonna be moving forward.
This will stop, and the chiefs already will handle all of that. This will stop September the 30th. And like I said, this is only for people that are out and have no choice about what they get to do about picking people up or handling people. It's not for anybody that's in offices or anything like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So is
Just
there,
outside people.
Absolutely, yeah.
so is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Gill. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. So this next item is a permit fee for the school, and we've waived a lot of different fees for the school, you know, $25 here and there, $50 here and there, but this is a bit more. So Daryl, this is for solar panels?
The solar panels
And which building is it going on?
is 2300 Government Street.
That new building that's already been installed.
Yep, so, and how much is the permit fee exactly?
Permit fee is $958. Cost of the job is $152,696.
So,
Historically, we've always waived the fee. Didn't we waive the fee at the stadium even, which was a heck of a lot more than that?
Probably.
and that's why I wanted to bring it tonight, is just because of the,
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we waive the permit fee for the solar panels on the central office.
Okay, motion to waive from Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Impey. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, so next is discussion of moving the recess meeting to the Civic Center. We talked about moving it either to the Civic Center or the courthouse. Vicki and you've been working with some folks on that, so tell us.
Sounds like logistically, it'll work better at the Civic Center because there's already sound systems and things like that there.
Oh, okay.
You can spread out easier.
Yeah.
Yes, better.
Spread the public.
That's fine.
And they don't have
It's
court
in
the
your
next
ward, I
day.
know that's why you want it.
Well, either one's in my ward.
That's
Same
true.
park.
So,
Dog park's in my ward, Joe.
when do you think would be available?
Amazing.
This will be ready for this coming Tuesday?
That's what I'm working towards. I just need it approved so that we can.
I think it's a good idea. Like I said, we
Yeah.
talked about this, and we've done it once, and I thought it was a success. So I'd like to see more out that way if we could, but especially now during this, we discussed it at the last meeting, thinking that it would be easier to bring the public back into the meetings, spaced out more, because it is, the Civic Center is a lot wider than the courtroom. Plus we ourselves could space out a little bit more there.
Yeah, more entrances.
Play parking, yeah.
Bathrooms, facilities.
And also to hopefully encourage people in that end of town to show up to some meetings sometimes.
And also, if this goes well, then we can move forward and do it once quarterly or however you guys, I know that you had previously talked about moving out that way.
And
I'd just like to use this one as a test though, because you never know.
just because we are, I was working with Vicky on it, just because we are aiming for next week, we had talked to, I talked to Rafe O'Neill about what handheld mics or microphones they have. They do have 2 handhelds that they could loan us, but we probably need to, if you authorize us to ask, they belong to the Mary C, not to us, so if authorized, I can ask to borrow them and see if we can get them to work.
Jared, did we ever, didn't
Yeah.
somebody make an agreement with us to use that facility for a church?
They're not
I'm
done yet.
gonna let Huffy speak on that, because when he ran out, he had to run, because they're actually down there installing everything right now, and he had to go and lock up for them, so he can tell you updates
They
on
were
the
upgrading the
status.
sound system
Yeah.
and all kind of stuff for
So
us.
if they're ready.
If that's ready, we would have access to that.
Yeah,
correct?
they're supposed to be finished Friday, but that's pushing it.
Yeah, right.
But we need to have other means on hand.
We'll have the old.
As a backup to the backup,
We got
I will
that.
bring something too.
We got
I've
that.
got a system with.
Bring one of them microphones that you're pressing.
We got a little small system, we got a little small system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that'll be our backup,
Around.
and if something happens with that, I have a backup.
I was also asked to look into the legality of moving the regular meetings, and that is a possibility. So the statute says that if we have an ordinance stating that there's a way in which to move it, then we can do that. So on a normal day, say construction here at City Hall, and really this would fall into that too, we can give notice for 3 consecutive weeks in the newspaper that we want to move it. Or in the case of a disaster or a pandemic like we're in, we can just move it. So, I mean, of course, we would still put out notice through Facebook and through our media blast and all those ways of putting out notice, but I just wanted to let y'all know, because you asked me to look into it, we can move the regular and recess meeting. It's up to y'all.
But that was, I asked you to do that because, last 2 meetings with all these public hearings, the turmoil we went through and trying to hold those over phone and Zoom and everything else, it would just make sense to allow at least those people into the meetings. Now, but I think we're fixing to start opening back up anyway, but.
That's not for this Tuesday night, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is? It's coming Tuesday? Okay.
That would be the recess meeting, so that one can be moved at any time, but the regular meeting is what is generally set by ordinance to occur here at 6 o'clock on the first Tuesday of every month. But, Rob asked me to look into whether or not the regular meeting could also be moved, and it can be.
So is there a motion to move?
I'll make that
Yeah.
motion to move the recess meeting to the Civic Center, the recess meeting for May.
All right,
Second.
motion to move the recess meeting for May to the Civic Center by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Yeah, the downtown folks are not. All right,
Take the van.
discussion of cemetery board duties and expectations of.
Yeah.
Ricky.
That is on there because I really, John, did you sit with the cemetery board? Did you ever come to those meetings?
Every one of them.
Okay, so I told them that I never really attended those, and so we're trying to really understand what your guys' expectation is of the cemetery, board before we get them in here and talk to them, because, the ordinance, I think, kinda says they'll go out and pick problem things, and did y'all ever go out there and walk around and flag trees and stuff? Did y'all do that?
Well, yes, we did. Well, it was in disarray. The whole cemetery was in bad shape.
Yeah.
And, we went, the whole board went out there and walked it, and I think maybe Shelley did, and, we decided what to do by looking at every aspect of the cemetery. Then, like, a lot of water oaks were just growing all over the place. They were just smothering out the grass and uprooting some of the grave sites, and so, first thing we did was, we yellow ribbon
Okay.
every a water oak, and then we hired someone to cut them.
Well, that's, yeah, so we're gonna
Yeah.
get there in a minute, so I
Yeah.
wanted to know what all you guys did, because what I didn't wanna do was empower people and them bring me a big list that cost a lot of money, and then me say we couldn't do it. And so I'm trying to make sure before we empower them, what all we are
Well,
prepared
another
to do.
thing that we noticed too is that a lot of the stones were broken in half
They still are,
and just laying there.
they still are.
And then, so we, got this epoxy, and we got, 50 airmen from the
Absolutely,
CBs.
I forgot,
We went out there in one day
yeah. I
and
forgot.
epoxied all of those headstones back, pressure washed some of them, some of the cold ones around, we re-concreted.
Yeah. Was
Some of the
it
cold
Keystone or
ones.
the C guys, the CBs or Keystone, I can't
CBs.
remember who came, yeah.
I could ask, cause, the Air Force Base does that as well. I'm sure they may have some guys looking for some community service.
That's what they do, they actually volunteer,
And that's
for weekends.
a great idea, but I think
What I'm trying to get to is
find out
what's
what
the
the
committee gonna
duties,
do?
what's
Yeah.
the duties and responsibilities of that board. And John, it sounds like you could basically just go sit down with Patty and fill her in.
Well, actually, I think John should set in with us.
And John
'cause he has
should,
a
I
lot
think
of
John
knowledge.
should kind of head that
Yes.
committee up, and, cause he's
That's
most
fine.
familiar with it. It sounds like it's going out and basically making assessments of the cemeteries, finding and identifying the problems with trees, broken headstones, and then hazards. I can recall 8, 9 years ago going out with Shelley down here on, Dewey at the cemetery, and there was concerns over a large marble gravestone that was teetering on its platform.
Right.
And I literally put my finger on it to rub by the name to see whose name was on it, and it fell.
Wow,
And it was about 8 foot tall.
wow.
And, that was a long time ago, but
So we met,
Some
we
little
got
kid
that
was-
fixed. I think
some
some
little
work
kid
went out there to
was-
reset that back, I remember that.
Yeah, some little kid was doing the same thing, and it fell on him and broke his arm,
Sure.
remember,
Yeah.
about 4 years ago.
right.
But what we do, we also, one of the things we did too, is that we saw a lot of empty space.
Yeah.
And so we, had a radar technician actually radar the ground and make sure there was no bodies. And,
That would've been the shot over 10 of it, did that?
It was, yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, sure enough, we found a lot of empty space.
Yeah, we made a lot of money.
Yeah, and we had a guy come in and survey and actually, lay out the, plot. And then, we gave the map to Shelley, and she advertised and sold them. I think we made like 400,000,
We made a lot of money.
400,000 off of
And
that.
we still have people that want out there, and we still need to kind of address those things, but I had told Nicole that I knew you had a lot of knowledge, and I really didn't have that knowledge. And I just don't wanna empower people and then not support the empowerment, so I wanna make sure what, and that's what she put it on there for, is to, what do you guys want them to do, and then we'll reach out to Dr. Lebrino and see if he would like to come to, because I know he was a big part of it, because I definitely need some help in telling people.
Okay, well, listen, I'd be glad to meet with them and kinda guide them and,
The only thing is, Dr. Brown doesn't live in the city limits,
Yeah.
so we would have to.
That was
Y'all
my
have
next
already done
question.
that. Y'all have already done that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Dr. Brown moved out of the city.
Yeah, he lives on Big Swamp.
Yeah, it's in the ordinance that
Y'all have already
Okay.
handled that,
Okay.
that was handled a while back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
you're good.
good. Have
We
you got
don't-
volunteers yet?
Well, they have 3, is that correct? There are 3 people that got appointed last June, is that correct? And so they would like to get them in, but we needed to know what all we're gonna say to them and, you know, those kind of things, and we're just a little lost.
Do we need a motion to, make John the,
He's probably just willing to come.
That's fine.
Are you-
Yeah, I was willing to come, I'll work with them.
okay.
Sure.
Wait a step up there, Blue. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gotta take care of people out there
That's
too,
right.
you know?
All right, item 8, discussion of reopening city buildings and suspension of administrative leave. So, I spoke with the other mayors on on our call that we always have every week, twice a week, and it seems like most of Hancock and Harrison County are letting people back in June 1st, or shooting for June 1st. It appears most of Jackson County is shooting for this coming Monday, actually, so that's what we've been doing, is trying to prepare for that, to let people in at a limited capacity on this coming Monday. And we discussed it at the department head meeting the other day, and everybody's been kind of making plans for it.
I'm not saying that, because I realize it's awkward for us to not allow people in since Jackson County has. I'm not telling you that we're not willing to. I will tell you that because we're going up on the new accounting software and all, it's been going way better. That has probably what we've done in a month to bring up the new Tyler system and water. We probably would not have done near as successful. I mean, they have a lot of phone calls anyway, but if the public had been here, it would have been even worse. I did print off what Pascagoula is doing, because if you guys really want us to open it up, I think maybe only 3 people should be allowed in at a time. Pascagoula's only allowing 2 in, and then they have to stay outside until they come out. There was another suggestion, if we're gonna open the back door, maybe have them come in this way and maybe go out the back door if y'all don't want them. I don't know if that's important, that might be too hard on them to get back around front. It's too hard.
Well, if you have handicap.
Yeah, I agree,
You don't want
yeah.
that to go all the way
I
around.
agree, yeah. Maybe we just put something on the door and we say, you know, if you open the door and there's 3 people, because there'll be X's for them to be 4 foot, 5, 6 foot apart, then they'll just have to wait outside until they come out. Eddie got plexiglass, and I'm not sure who helped him, Alan probably knows, Ed. They cut plexiglass to put in the windows. And so the only opening would be for you to hand stuff in and out. They also cut one for the building department. And so in those ways, we're preparing. I would kind of like to, if we're gonna open now, to at least maybe not open the restrooms up right now, because we don't really have a lot of public that come in to go to them, or maybe I'm wrong, but we
Except
kind of homeless. And so I would really like to not do that at this time, if y'all want to open. If we could not open, and Jerry's gonna speak about what theirs was, I think that we would do, as far as the Tyler system, it would be better to have a whole month on getting the billing in and out. But we realize that y'all may feel like we have to open, so I'm not saying we wouldn't do it. I'm just saying the training could go easier and better if we didn't. But I'm preparing City Hall. They can't get in the back where we are, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
saying don't open the bathrooms right now.
Well, I would like to not open the restaurants at this point, yes.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's why I wanted to have it on here, just discuss what we've been doing and get some input from everybody.
Well, my input is, yes, we need to follow suit with the rest of the county, and I agree with the limitations, I agree with the bathrooms. We're still gonna have, in my opinion, 50% of the people that need to do business are still gonna go outside to use the drop box and everything, and we need to leave that intact out there.
Well, yeah, Pascagoula did a real good job at encouraging people to continue to use all
Exactly,
the
we need
other.
to encourage
We
it,
will
but we
too.
also need to let the people in that need to get in.
Yeah. And we went out and brought them papers and in and out, because, as you know, we're still selling a lot of golf cart permits, because they're hot commodity, and they want them right away, so I walk out, get the thing, bring it back in, and then we take the permit out. I don't think we've had anybody suffer, because I can see them, and so we go outside and assist instead of them coming in. But I understand that, that.
I had one complaint.
I think we've done a really good job at it.
Yes, no, I've had one.
Oh, you have?
He's 98 and he pays everything in cash.
Oh, well, that's a
And
little
if he
rough.
can't get in the door and hand you the money, he's not paying.
Well, I would've met him at his
An old
court,
timer.
he just called me, I'd be
He went
happy to
through
meet him
depression.
outside. 98,
And,
that's terrible.
All his
And
bills.
Mindy, can you give us, where you at? Can you give us just overview of where we're at with administrative leave right now?
We have instituted administrative leave policy, and we have some people working from home. We had some different shifts, working various schedules. So, and then we have some people that because they are in a high-risk category due to age or medical, that they have been at home and not working. So if this administrative leave policy is suspended, then those people would have to start using leave. And the ones who have a doctor's slip would have to talk to their doctor about what's the possibility of them coming back, and are there some accommodations that we could make to allow them to come back. We have a few part-time people that are in a high-risk group that don't have any leave. A couple of them are school crossing guards, and a couple of them work in the parks department. So this time, if this is suspended, this pay for them would be suspended. And I know that there's been some discussion with the ones that work for the parks department about how to move forward. But I think the ones that are for school crossing guard were right about where school would end.
But those part-time people, other part-time work get paid anyway.
Correct. It's
They
just
were
the
only
ones-
getting paid
just the
because
ones
they
that
were
were in a
at age.
high-risk category due to
They
age.
already weren't paying the other ones.
Right.
I think next Friday's the last day for the crossing guards, right?
Well, school would be out. Right. So this coincides with about the time that school would be out anyway.
This Friday, next Friday, next week from this Friday.
A week from Friday, yeah.
Well, I think we open back up, and I think we look at the administrative leave for maybe an additional week, just to make that complete. I mean, not just for one group, but I mean, in a week, we should be in a situation where everybody can come back to work and not be around other people so closely. I mean, I can't think of a building here at City Hall campus that anybody's gonna be too close to each other.
I only have concerns because I have no way of providing a secondary I'm trapped. I have no way to have a partition for somebody just walking in. Now, we have little to no walk-ins.
So-
And anybody that does walk in can just go into the building department or City Hall and we'll come down and meet them or let them in.
Correct.
So I'd ask if we could still keep our door locked. We'll still allow people in, but not have walk-ins.
Just have a knock on the door.
Yeah.
The 18th, Public Works, they all come back on the 18th, so that's taken care of.
Right.
So we'll be there. I've been there every day anyway, but Wade is still working from home and Amanda's split. So we'll be there to take care of people. It hasn't interrupted anything, but the door will be locked. They'll just have to call or knock or let me know and I'll let them know.
That's fine, so y'all all have separate offices up there. so-
Right, we're
so
fine.
y'all are- yeah,
It's just the public coming in.
Yeah, that's fine, in my opinion.
Any further discussion on
Well,
that?
what do we do with the people that are over the age? You know, the older ones that can't come, they're telling them to stay out until this is over or whatever. What do we do
Well,
about
You
that?
mean
we can
Barbara
allow them to
Bill?
use leave and remain out, or it's up to them. Do they want to come back, and can we accommodate them in some way?
Yeah.
I think that some
What
of
if we let
Jerry's,
administrative leave go to June 1st like the rest of them do? That would give them 2 more weeks to make their mind on what they want to do.
The other cities have stopped it.
right.
Just so you know,
It's time. I mean,
yeah,
it's
you either
time.
pay
Milking
leave,
it
you
at
come
this
back,
point.
or you don't get paid. That's where the other cities are.
So,
I mean, we can make all the accommodations that we can and make it as safe for everybody as possible. I mean, there's, if you're comfortable wearing masks, wear a mask.
Yeah, like with Public Works, if
If
I
you-
don't
if you
want
can
to
work from home, you can work
we work around.
Hey, you're not shutting anybody's water off, are y'all?
Sorry.
You're not shutting anybody's water off, are y'all?
So that got moved to May something, but we weren't gonna do shut off till June anyway, so whatever just came out didn't affect what we had already said. We won't do shut off until June.
How many do we have? We have a bunch.
I don't know yet, Billy will.
Probably.
Yep.
We'll just take another look at it in June. Maybe we
Well,
we won't start cutting it off, we'll just take another look.
Well, there's
At the
something.
first June meeting.
Well, there's something coming out already, is that
Already
correct?
come out.
I haven't seen it, there's something that says, kinda letting them know, you need to go ahead and call in, and see where we're at. You need to expect that you could get cut off in June, and that's to try to get people to go ahead and go back to paying, and if they know it now, we're at May 13th, that gives them 6 weeks to come in, and they could come in and make some payments and stuff, and so that's kinda where it's at now, is, at some point you have to say you're going to, for people to even come in and try to pay. I think a lot of people probably pay here, I don't know, I'll be surprised, I guess, if we have one, but I don't know that.
There could be people that are 4 months behind by the time we cut off.
Yeah.
And then it's Christmas.
Well, then, yeah, if you let them get too far behind, they
You're gonna cut 'em
can't
off
get
at
caught up.
Christmas?
That's the negative to, you know, what's
Okay.
happening. It's hard on them, because then
No,
if
it'll
they
be
can't get
cut
enough
off.
paid, they get a $40 cutoff fee, and then all that starts, and that makes it even harder to get caught up. And so, we'll just keep watching it and see what we can do to try to be kind, but get the money, get collected.
Take it an individual basis, huh?
Well, yeah, when she does billing this time, I'll update y'all in an email and kind of tell you how many people's behind and whatever. I'll try to give you guys, because I know she's gonna do billing on the 26th.
I don't wanna hurt anybody that's already hurt, you know?
Sir?
I don't wanna hurt anybody that's already
Sure,
hurt
I
financially.
understand.
You know, that's,
Yeah.
that's we need to watch.
Whatever what they
So as far as the suspension, we're scheduled to go ahead and stop it now, so. That's fine.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, does anybody
What,
want
what,
to
do we
take?
want to do it Monday when
As of
coming
the
back, or
18th,
do it
or
on the 18th on that part?
The 18th when we.
Yeah, I mean, 18th is when we talked about the, opening the building, so, I mean, that would make sense to me.
I'd like to do it all at once, because it gets confusing when y'all one week this thing and.
Yeah,
This Monday.
Okay, Monday. Yeah, all right, so I'll make the motion that we, reopen the city buildings and suspend administrative leave on the 18th.
All right.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Blackman, second, Mr. Gill. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
I
carries.
guess I should have asked before
Here, let
that.
me check my date. Is that
I
the-
think it says of the 14th, but
Needs
the
to be the
18th
Friday
of the
before, because that's the last day.
Well,
of the
then,
period.
No, we're talking about doing it all Monday. Let me pull my.
Yeah, we're talking about the 18th.
Pay period means
That's
this Friday.
correct, 18th, that's right.
But pay period.
What was?
Now,
Get
I
confused.
apologize, because I have a very important question, because when you say to open all city buildings, so that's meaning that you want the community center open back up, now we're opening the civic center back up for functions,
That's
Those
depending,
need to be,
those are depending on each particular
so they were
event.
not included in that motion.
Right, that's
I
just
just
for
wanted to
municipal
make sure,
buildings.
so
yeah, I said
someone,
all,
okay.
Well, the buildings can be open, I think you're more specifically asking about the different functions.
Yeah, you're asking about rentals and functions.
Yeah, this doesn't
No,
affect
because I
communities.
have other things that happen in my buildings, you got to keep in mind, I have classes that occur in city buildings.
You're talking about like the
I
table
didn't
tennis,
say classes.
talking about like table tennis and stuff?
Table tennis, karate.
Yeah, this won't affect any of
pottery.
that.
No,
This
we
will-
need to look at that separately. This is just saying you can be in the building. I'm not saying we're gonna have
Okay.
start rentals and classes and all that back up.
You're saying places.
I just want, that's why I want to make
Places,
sure you
yeah,
said.
let me rephrase
Yeah.
it.
You mean
Places
this
and
where you do
buildings.
business with us.
City buildings where you have to conduct business.
Right.
I get
Okay.
the rec building opens.
Yes.
All right, and last and final item for discussion is discussion of Parks and Recreation Summer Camp. So, we just need a decision on this, basically. I know I support opening it in a limited capacity. Ms. Jerry, what do you have to say? I mean, how's it been this week?
I mean, everything's been fine.
I mean,
From the last meeting, we only had 7 people to unenroll from the program. If we open to a limited capacity, who do we tell they can't come?
Just, if
I
they
mean,
all
we-
sign a waiver, all the other places are full. They're using everything they got, so let's just.
Oh, yeah, we got a waiver. I had Nicole draw up a waiver, so that's, I mean, that's,
If we did a waiver and they all agree, just open it up like normal.
You mean you open it up normal, let as many come as you
But
can
you need a
hold?
waiver
Well,
in case that you-
all the other places are doing the same thing. The one on the highway.
Well, no, in the zone did not require waiver. The
Well,
YMCA
But we will.
I mean, whatever you all would like to do is what we'll do.
what's your staff? Are they all?
According to
willing?
them, right now, as of this moment, they said that they would return.
Jerry, what was the normal opening day for that?
Yeah, the waiver basically.
The normal opening
Just
date
what it
is,
is.
oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, the waiver that just says basically that they're not gonna hold the city of Ocean Springs liable if they.
Yeah, it's very specific to COVID-related issues.
I think it was May 1st, wasn't it, Jerry?
No, June 1st was
1st.
our date that we wanted to start the program.
Was that in here, Jerry?
Pardon? June
Okay.
1st.
June 1st was the normal opening day?
That was the normal opening date, but when we didn't realize what was going on, so we told the parents that we would try to push for May 26th, which would give them an additional week that they would have somewhere for their kids to go.
Okay.
We do have a few issues that if we were to open, well, if we have a waiver, then I'll just get with Nicole and tell the things that there's certain things we just won't be able to guarantee. We cannot guarantee separation. You're talking about 125 children
Yeah.
in a building that has 3 rooms.
Mhm.
One of which is licensed with the state for 17 children, one for 26 children, and the other one for 77 children. So, but we're willing to do our best. We want to do it, so it's not please, we want to do it, but you just have to understand, what we're faced with. I mean, our staff has not been trained to be doctors or nurses. So, but we are willing to take temperatures every day. If they have a fever and we want to email them, should we move forward, we will email them our handbook. We normally do an orientation where it's mandatory for all parents to come so they understand what we're doing, but naturally we can't, well, I don't know. We could, if we're gonna have the camp, we can have orientation. But it's kind of not too much of a difference there.
Jerry, if you open June 1st, they give you 2 weeks to get ready.
Well, she wants to do it the 26th.
The getting ready part is not, it's finding the supplies that we need. The staff has said they'll come. So, as long as we can come up with hand sanitizer.
I asked April to send me that list today so I can get with the guy from Lowe's. I think that if I get with him, I might be able to get some.
Right. Well, I think the hand sanitizer and, was only one other something. You have a lot of that?
We might have a couple gallons of that drum. I think Kim Search has got some too.
I'm gonna be doing that grant
They
application.
don't smell like whiskey, but
It works.
No, but we've discussed it, we
I think that's a
know, we know what we would do the best that we can, and all we can do is do the best that we can do.
So
do you want the 26th or
It's just a
1st?
bad situation. We
Yeah,
all
it
want
is.
it to happen, but we all want to err on the side of caution as well. I really don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We've got too many people signed up. They're kind of counting on this.
They do depend on it.
Yeah, and I fully support it, but I'm extremely concerned at the same time. It's a lot to ask of our staff to act as nurses and doctors when that's not what they're being paid to do. But I'll let you guys hash it out.
Let me ask you this, Rob, you got a good point, Jerry. You got any volunteer doctor that could come be at the door and just look at kids when they come in, on a doctor's perspective, to see what make sure that they look okay, and you have the right to weed them out at that time?
It's not just the kids. We need to monitor the staff as well too.
And it really doesn't help that, I don't know if any of you all, because I've just been a news buzz because I knew we had this on the horizon, and what they're talking about with these children and the possibility of what they're getting, but I just don't want to sound like a naysayer. I actually agree with everything that Mr. Blackman is saying. My heart, I want to, but I want to be safe, and I don't want to play with somebody's child's life.
Well, I'll call you tomorrow. We'll call Ocean Spring Hospital, see if we get a volunteer, a nurse or someone that can come at the door. Is that okay with you, Jerry? You're looking the other way like you don't want to do it.
No, I was listening to what he was saying. But I heard you talking about a volunteer doctor. I heard that.
Yeah, you think that's a good idea?
That's a good idea. We can get one of those.
Scanners,
My question was, do you want the 26th or the 1st?
What you mean, a laser?
Yeah, the little scanner, when they walk by, just do that. And see
I'd say go on and start with the 26th.
We can get it cheaper.
If we're gonna do it, we may as well go on and start.
Go ahead and do the 26th.
Even
The fire department has already scheduled one training that we are
You don't
allowed
have
to
to touch
do.
them, you just got.
Derek, your staff has, set us up for next Friday for CPR first aid.
you just shoot them.
Go mine.
But you can't find,
Nobody's fine.
Wait, you got the actual temperature scanner.
And now just,
They do the same thing, just like you're checking an AC, it's got those.
Right, we don't use it anymore. I got them, we don't use it anymore.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Just, that's right. I've got one, as a matter of fact, I've got one of those too.
excuse me, but we did, April and I did, okay, April April and I did have a conversation, and Huffy just pointed out something, too, that across the summer, what we definitely have to do is keep our outside guys, staff from inside of the building. Because if something were to happen, and, you know, we did have to shut down, we can't afford, we shut down, we don't wanna shut them down, so we have to keep them out of the building. But April and I did do, because we've done a lot of thoughts, discuss this every day that I've been at work, and our pros about trying to do this is helping the parents who have no other childcare options, the counselors keeping their jobs, and, you know, giving children having a safe environment. The challenges and our cons that we have are the risk of illness, the lack of supplies, that we just discussed that, our temperature screening, field trips, because basically, like one of the parents that emailed me and contacted me, reached out, she says, I'm enjoying my son and my nephew, she says, we've been there for 12 years for my other child, she says, but they were their first summer camp. And this is basically, if you don't go anywhere, they're just babysitting, I work from home and they can stay home. So they gave us 2 slots, which we wouldn't fill. Being unable to follow the CDC guidelines for surrounding and COVID-19, if we can't do it, we'd have to tell the parents we can't do it. You know, we'd have to go regular camp. We can't follow those guidelines. We can't train our staff on COVID-19 because we're not experts in that field. And fielding the questions from the parents. We have not received any phone, I have not received not one phone call from a parent in a negative aspect from the decision they heard last week, not one. I mean, not one, April did not either. But I guarantee you, whatever way we go, then that's when we're gonna get the questions, because they're gonna start saying, okay, now you are open, what are you doing about this, and this? And we just wanna be prepared. So that's whatever, you know.
So what's everybody thinks? Anybody got a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, we reopen summer camp for the 26th of this month.
I'll second. Motion to open the summer camp for the 26th of May by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Bellman. Now, you want to include any kind of restrictions or?
It's going to, basically, I think, restrict itself with Jerry. I mean, you're gonna do your best to monitor and do what you can do. And she'll cut it off when she feels like she needs to cut it off. I mean, I think we gotta leave that to Jerry to make that call.
I'd say Bobby signed the waiver.
Yeah, the waiver does.
Should we include that?
Potential restriction.
You wanna add that to your motion?
Should we include that?
I didn't get that list though, but I need it, so I can email them.
Because it was a couple of
We'll
things.
include the waiver into the motion to be included.
I think Joey seconded it.
Yeah, and motion by Mr. Cox and second by Mr. Bellman. Did you have something?
And
to
that
add?
would be,
Well, I was just gonna mention that Sand River Hospital met with Jackson County and gave them training so that they could reopen on Monday. And maybe we could reach out to them and Parks and Rec and the counselors could get some sort of training from the hospital, or possibly even more of the staff also.
Yeah, I can get with Levon and Heath at Sand River and ask them if they can come.
Hey, man, while you talking to Lee, want to see if we can get a volunteer looking at all our nurse.
Yeah.
On opening day.
Yeah, I'll see what they recommend. Maybe we can get Katie to come or something.
Yeah.
Can you add to your motion with any restrictions that we have? Because we gave them a full-blown field trip schedule that is no way we're going to be able to adhere
Yes,
to.
that.
So that way they understand.
I'm leaving that to your discretion.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're gonna have to.
And because it's
cancel
been difficult, we have not been able to lock not one down. Everything that we had in the air that we thought we could do since then, cannot even, not
They
even
all know
bowling,
you well
skating,
enough to know.
movies,
Might be splash
swimming,
pads.
nothing.
And they know you well enough to know
Oh,
that you're
yeah.
gonna do what you can do best for those kids, and we know that too.
We're not gonna do anything to endanger.
Guys, I hate to be the negative one up here, but I'm still very concerned. I don't even know how I'm gonna vote yet. I hadn't made my mind.
You got a few minutes.
That's why I'm talking.
I'm ready to call it out.
I'm ready to call a vote. I believe in this program, I believe in our Parks Department, I know they have the best interest at heart of all children that pass through those doors, and employees. And I'm torn about this. I fully support what everything everybody's saying. I'm just concerned.
And I won't lie to you,
Rob,
I won't lie,
too,
I am
But I
scared.
tell you, after talking to Jerry and listening to the board, especially with having a nurse or a doctor, or ham serve there at the door when they come in, observe them every day.
But you've heard report after report after report that some people, when they get this, are asymptomatic. They don't show symptoms, so you could have 6 doctors there
It
and.
won't matter.
Yeah, but some of them do show symptoms.
Some of them do, but
Right,
some of them
so
don't.
what, so
Well,
what
I mean,
I'm
let's
gonna do.
just don't do
Well,
it
of course it
then.
did.
If some of them don't.
So I'll talk to Lee Bond and, at the hospital, I'll see what they recommend, if anything, and whatever they recommend, we'll do.
Right.
So, all right, so just to be clear, the motion includes, opening summer camp on the 26th with the waiver,
With the
correct?
waiver and Jerry's discretion on the programming.
Right, okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay. I just don't think it's worth the risk.
Anybody say nay?
Yes.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, motion to adjourn, Mr. Gill. Second. Second, Mr. Bellman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I've never had anything happen to me.
And,
Okay, Patty, good
just
job.
just let everybody know, I'm gonna be out of town tomorrow and Friday.
I think we can tell them.
Yeah.
Well, she'll say,